Hi everybody, this is State Senator Suzi Oppenheimer with a report from the New York State Senate. And as you know, each month I try to change the program to make it something of interest to the people of Westchester County. And I think today we have some people you'll be very interested in meeting, particularly if you're the parents or a young person who's maybe a junior in high school, maybe a sophomore, maybe even someone heading off in their senior year. And we're going to be talking about what is necessary to know about choosing a college and how you go about, processing the necessary information that's required. So, sitting next to me is Fran Wills, and many of us know Fran as the very extremely superb, remarkable, excellent superintendent of the Briarcliff Manor school system. And next to her is Elys Smith, who is going to have all the information that you would ever want to know, not only about getting your typical student into college, but also those kids that need a little special extra help. So, let's start. This is the wonderful Fran Mills, and we are going to chat now. Chat!
Okay. First of all districts, and Briarcliff, of course, as well, we are committed to meeting the learning needs of every student. And certainly the culmination of a K-12 education is this transition that students make as self-directed learners, we hope, as independent learners, the transition to their next phase. The next door opens in their lives, and that door, for most of our students in Briarcliff, that door is college. And so there's a tremendous amount of care. There's a high standard of care that goes into the process of helping students with this enormous decision that they're making for certainly the next several years of their lives. And of course, for some students there's a transfer or something like that, but basically most of our students find a school that meets their needs, that's suited to them. And that's our goal. There is a lot of anxiety around the college process, and rightly so, because in Westchester in particular, but throughout the nation, there is a tremendous investment in the K-12 education. And so the next phase for their children, the next phase for college and career, is on the minds of parents. And so our role is to make that process a successful one where everybody feels satisfied. The day that they put that deposit down for the college education, for that college that they've chosen, that should be a day of joy and celebration for our students. And so there is a transition process that we go through with our students, and it's a very caring one for all students. Students who, and by the way, there's no typical student. It's a customized approach. Every child is an individual, every student is an individual, and I know Elys will talk about what we look for, what our students need to look for, and our parents need to look for in a college, and it varies. I mean, sometimes a student wants to be near home, and the parent wants them to. Sometimes a student wants to fly away and be as far away. We have a student going to Stanford, and that's the dream of that particular child. Yeah. Some want a large school because they've been in a small Briarcliff, sort of a hothouse for a long, long time. And now they want to spread their wings, and they want a University of Michigan, University of Wisconsin. They want to get out there and see what it's like in the very big sea rather than the smaller pond. And so all of these factors have to be taken into account. And when a student has special needs, there is another factor that needs to be considered, and that is, what does the college have to offer to that child to support them? One of the tensions that we have, the dynamic of a school such as Briarcliff, is that we spend a lot of time and attention helping kids through their K-12 education in terms of nurturing them and ensuring that they get their needs met. And once they reach the college phase, that kind of care cannot be there any longer. We want them to be independent. We want them to be able to make good choices on their own. And so everything we do to that point needs to help them develop this, what we call a 21st century skill of self-directed learning, being able to make good choices and see the opportunities that are out there, be able to seize them, build on their strengths, build on their passions. So everything we do K-12 is to help them to identify what are your strengths, what are your passions, and let's find a college that works well for you. I feel that I should turn this over now to our expert, because I think she has a tremendous amount of information on this
I
topic.
have some questions just about
Sure.
Briarcliff. You're one of many districts, school districts in my Senate district. How big is the Briarcliff student body?
We have right now about 1,760 students.
Well, you are small.
We're a small school district.
Yeah. And so you graduate each year about how many?
About this year is our largest class. We have 180 students. It's very unusual, 181, I believe. Next year we'll be back to around 160. But Briarcliff also accepts tuition students from Pecanico Hills. So we have a large number of our students in Briarcliff. Right now we have 70 students at our high school, or 76 students, I believe, out of 650 students who have chosen Briarcliff out of Pecanico Hills School, because Pecanico Hills is in a K-8 district, and they have a right to choose from among their neighbors in terms of a high school. So 8th graders will make a choice, in our case, among Sleepy Hollow, Pleasantville, or Briarcliff. And so we are serving a more diverse body in terms of having students from outside. And our students actually look forward to 9th grade when you have some students from somewhere else, because so many of our students are K-12. They actually, they follow that K-12 program. But in 9th grade, wonderfully, we have students from another school district to join ours, so there's an opportunity for new friends and new relationships.
Yeah. The person on my staff who handles our website and our internet is Chelsea Kadish.
Oh, yes,
And
Chelsea, yes.
She was brought up in
Absolutely.
your system.
And I spoke to her on the phone, I think, one day when I called. I'm always intrigued when I call very often at your office or at Andrea Stewart Cousins' office. I believe we have a student there.
You place them
Yes.
there on purpose
Right.
so they get the real poop.
Exactly, exactly.
Now, of course, I would assume, because of the nature of your school district, that probably most of your students, I mean, like almost all, go to college.
Yes, I believe it's 98%.
And of the 2% that maybe don't, they probably go to some kind of career education. I mean, I'm often saying that people, not every student is cut out
Exactly.
for college, but they certainly could make a nice living as a plumber or an electrician. You know that silly little joke about plumber comes to homeowner's house and fixes the problem on the toilet and leaves in 3 minutes and says to homeowner, that'll be $250. And the homeowner says, oh my God, that's a lot of money for 3 minutes of work. And he says, why, that is more money than I make, and I'm a Wall Street lawyer. And plumber says, yes, it's more money than I made when I was a lawyer. So we try and direct children.
At least you remember punchlines, Susie. That I admire in itself.
But it's so true. But there's livelihoods that will give them
Absolutely.
sufficient income to live a good life.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because we encourage our students who are so inclined to take the opportunity to go to some of the programs that our BOCES offers, which now are very sophisticated. Graphics programs, for example, all kinds of health programs. And so they have an opportunity to see that there are other careers, electrical programs.
Yeah.
We want that for our students, because we want our students to explore. One of our great opportunities in your K-12 year should be exploration. Find out what you're good at, find out what your limits are, find out what your strengths are, and that's what you can take with you when you go to your next phase.
And we all know, we are constantly being told that the person graduating in this era now from high school or college will probably, in their working lives, have 5 to 7 totally different professions that they'll be working at. So you better be, number one, a good learner, open to opportunities.
Exactly. Problem solver.
My press officer is a Yale-educated lawyer. But she decided that wasn't exactly what she wanted. She liked government. Did she take a salary decrease? But
Yes.
she's doing something that she thinks is meaningful. All right, now you are going to tell us how we are going to get every child into their chosen school, which is very funny.
Which is very funny. We actually look, as Dr. Will said, to developing the total student. And that's a developmental process where we actually pick up at the middle school level. We have a transition counselor who works with both the 9th graders and also the incoming 8th graders, where we actually develop a 4-year plan to discuss specific courses that are pertinent to the individual student. At the same time, introducing the concept of transcript and how important that is for grades that will follow them through the college application and selection process. When they get to 9th grade, when students get to 9th grade, they experience a freshman orientation to experience team building and to understand that there are significant people in the building that they can come to and relate to, and then they're broken down into small groups called advisory, where they are actually discussing topics such as study skills and time management, concepts and topics that they will be dealing with at the college level as well. So this is actually the beginning of nurturing students as they enter high school and before. By the time they get to 10th grade, we're introducing the Naviance program, which is a program that the districts in Westchester County use. Interactive, internet-based. The counselors use it to track applications, and students use it for a variety of reasons. Beginning in 10th grade, we introduce it to students to utilize an online career and interest survey. So they get to know about themselves, what their interests are. It's not an aptitude test, it's an interest test. And career inventory, and we take them to career workshops for further exploration. By the time they get to, with continuing the whole 4-year plan that we're developing, the time they get to their junior year, where we're working with families as well as the individual student. And let me say that we meet with every student individually every year of the 4 years at Briarcliff High School. By the time we meet with families in the junior year, we're working on the whole college process, utilizing Naviance for the college search engine and looking at particular indicators such as geographic location, co-ed schools or single-sex schools. We're looking at a variety of what you would find on a college search engine. Geographic diversity, areas like that. And we're asking students to get involved in the process as research-based, and then coming back and speaking to us about specific colleges. At the same time, we're supporting our students with learning needs to advocate and secure testing accommodations for them, beginning in 8th grade for College Board and then later on for ACT. We're developing a testing timeline, and we're trying to help them and their families think about the concept of college, whether it be a public school or a private school, what their particular majors are that they would be thinking about, types of internship opportunities, and then they go about developing a testing timeline and constantly meeting with the students to talk about the course selections and also the whole college process. This year we invited former Dean of Admissions at Franklin and Marshall to speak to parents on the college admissions game, which gave them an overview of what it is for the parents and the students to be an admissions advisor, somebody who makes decisions. So student applications were given out. They were, parents were allowed to make decisions on admissibility. So it's what we as counselors share with parents and conference with parents and their children about. But it was interesting to see how they felt on the reverse side of the fence. We expose our juniors to grade level meetings where students understand where they are and how to get to where they are from, and where they want to be. Tuesday we'll be having a representative from Barnard College come in to talk about essay writing and interviewing skills and all of those types of real life skills that they need to be successful later on in life. And then of course and the college application process, of course. In the senior year we meet with families again, and we go through the whole application process, securing teacher recommendations, the common application, writing essays, and at this time of the year they're having made their decisions.
And we felt very good this year. Our students, we feel this year have gotten into the schools they wanted to, and they feel really wonderful. They're celebrating at this time of year. That successful feeling that they found the school with the right fit. We have a website that's extensive that we developed because one of the things we did was ask parents, what is it that we can do to help you? Because there is a lot of anxiety, as I mentioned before. Having the website, I think, has been very helpful because parents can get information so easily, and the use of the internet now is pervasive.
Very different.
And so that's available to them. I think that what we try to do is have every student feel that sense of individual fulfillment at this moment, that as they're graduating, that they're entering this next phase of their life and they're going to be finding success there, they're going to be finding a place that's comfortable for them, that challenges them intellectually, and where they can, again, have options. I think it's very important that we don't expect a child to immediately, as they enter the freshman year of college, to make a decision on their career. College, again, is a place where suddenly you might find, I know with my own child, when he went to college, he was interested in political science, but he did have this sense that he was a dramatist, that he was a theater person, and today he's a theater person. He went to Swarthmore and got involved in theater. And it was more important to him than political science. He did work for Senator Mitchell, George Mitchell, and worked for him for a year or two. And that was wonderful, because we were in Maine at the time. But during the time he worked with Senator Mitchell, he was involved with drama and theater in Washington, and now he's doing that. So you can't always know. You mentioned before that people go through different careers in their lives. You can't really know, and we shouldn't get too caught on one particular path, because students flourish in different ways, students grow in different ways, and I think that's the excitement of being an educator. We see that.
But also, I think in this kind of an economy, it's better to have multiple skills than in a single.
Right.
And I'll speak for myself. When I went to college, I didn't even know what I ended up majoring in. I didn't know anything about it. I mean, I fell in love with economics. Now, I never knew about that in high school. I mean, nowadays I understand they do provide that in high school.
Yes.
But I didn't even know what the subject was. But I took an intro course, and I said, oh, this is just, and I was in love with macro, not micro, but macroeconomics. This is so fascinating. This is how the world works.
Yes.
This is how we survive. This is the world's commerce.
One of the changes that's taking place is interesting in the testing, this SAT, issue, because College Board has a stranglehold in some ways on our process nationally. But there's now a sense that there are some options, because the College Board, the SAT is an aptitude test, if you will. Although there are many students who are tutored, it is primarily an aptitude test, whereas ACT is more of an achievement test. It really is a test more of the content. So that's an option now that I think people didn't look at. They did in the West. In the West, the ACT was always very popular, but ACT is now becoming, more popular here.
And we recommend that all students attempt the SAT and the ACT, because some students clearly do better on one and not the other, or they could do equally well. And we want to help them present themselves to college admissions departments in the best possible light. So if they're going to excel in one particular venue, those are the tests that we
And many
send.
schools now will take the ACT, whereas in the past that wasn't the case. It's becoming, it's been validated much more. So that's becoming an option. And I mention that specifically because for students with special needs, sometimes that's the place where they do better in an achievement-oriented test, which is the ACT.
What's ACT stand for?
American College Test.
American College Test.
There used to be a test that was required in the West and the Midwest, and now it's accepted nationally, internationally, and there are different formats to both SATs and to ACTs, and you know, we look at all options to help support students in their, you know, quest to get admission to particular schools. So we also want them to be successful, and we also provide the other transition, as I mentioned before, from middle school to high school. Now we offer them a senior transition program where we'll have a speaker come in and talk about what it's like to move from high school to college, and also invite a panel of our own graduates back to talk about what their experiences were having gone through the freshman year of college.
And during the year, we have visits from all of the colleges that you can imagine coming to our school.
Yes.
And they do that. The admissions counselors go throughout the region and visit schools so that students have an opportunity to actually talk with a representative of the college.
So how does that work? That's not like a college fair where you have
No.
dozens of them in one night.
And on our website, we post the visits by the college representatives who come in the fall, and they come to our high school, and they meet with our students, those students who are interested in that particular school. We encourage students and their families to visit. When we talk about FIT, we talk about standing on a college campus and experiencing what it's like to go into a classroom, taking a tour of the school, finding out about the student population. It's very different than it is reading it in a book. So those representatives come to the high school, and those students who are interested in attending those meetings, and we encourage all of our students, whether they visited a particular college or not, because in this economy, some students cannot get out to visit some of the schools that they would like to. And parents are in a time crunch. They can't always help students, their children, visit in a timely way.
There are also virtual tours of colleges now.
Right,
So that's another option. Again, using the internet in that Naviance program, you can actually do a virtual tour. So that's an option too. If you see a school and you tour it in a virtual framework, then you may want to go, if you possibly can get to the school, but at least you will have that opportunity to do that.
Gives
You know, if
information
you think about
majors and college life, and now they have, you know, how they have Facebook, or you know, they have college websites that are kind of blogs from students who are currently attending those schools. So that's another venue to find out from a student's perspective what it's like to be a student at that particular school.
You know, in a way, the college process is a way for students to apply everything they've learned in high school about problem solving, research, writing, all of the skills, reading, all the skills that you're teaching them all along that are transferable to life, if you will, have a place in this college process. So, you know, you think about it, it's kind of an application. It's a laboratory where you can see where students actually use the skills they've learned in a way to help themselves as a self-directed process.
Filling out an application, writing a college essay, deadlines, being able to have get your applications and everything that's required out in a timely fashion, and you know, waiting to hear the happy news.
Timely fashion reminds me, 2 of my kids had me typing essays at 2 o'clock in the morning. They weren't too timely. So in the case of special needs or special ed, special needs, I guess, are there just several colleges, maybe in the Northeast here, that specialize in children that are learning, I like to say learning differences, learning disabled?
There are schools all over the country that provide support systems, and by law, every college or university has to provide accommodations that students who come to their schools who have a 504 plan, they have to have the appropriate testing, which we make sure they do before they leave the high school. We have annual reviews where we meet and make sure that the testing is you know, up to date. And then there are colleges that have specific programs, like the University of Arizona has a SALT program, and it's a comprehensive program with mentors and tutors and a lot of support built in. It's a program as compared to other schools that may have services that they provide, which is more loosely configured. And then there's just schools that you have to advocate for yourself. You have to be independent. You have to go with your testing accommodations, your 504 plan, and you have to advocate. You have to let the university know that you have these accommodations, and you have to navigate the waters of how you're going to get these accommodations, how your professors are going to know you have extended time, or if you need whatever the plan is.
Then we have a transition plan for students too who have special needs, and so this is all part of that transition plan. We went to a wonderful workshop this year in Manhattanville. Manhattanville has a terrific program for students with special needs, and they follow them very, very closely and provide the supports.
I didn't know that.
Right. So when we meet with students, these are conversations that we have with families. Some students would prefer not, or families would prefer not to self-disclose about accommodations until after they've been accepted at a particular school and they deposit and enroll. Other families feel that it's very important to focus on a particular program within a university. So it's a wonderful opportunity for students to be successful, to achieve at the level they are achieving at Briarcliff High School with the services and accommodations we provide also at a university.
Well, it's a lot of information. There was only one thing that I was questioning. You said that when the children were like 8th grade, you were speaking to them a bit. It sounded almost like, is there a direction, a specific skill, a career path? It seems very young.
It's never too young because we're always thinking and we're always exploring. We have internships, we have opportunities to volunteer. But in 8th grade, there are students who take high school courses, and that becomes a part of their transcript. And so that whole opportunity to be aware that that is going to impact them later on is important.
Yeah, particularly you have a child with special skill, you know, a wonderful artist or something of that nature.
Needs to be nurtured.
And you want to nurture.
Right.
Well, this has been wonderful. I thank you so much,
you.
Elys. I thank you so much, Fran. Two wonderful people from the Briarcliff Manor school system.
Right,
I sometimes
exactly.
leave out the second word. And Elys is certainly helping all the young people hopefully get into their first choice, their second, or getting into a college that will provide them with the skills for their future careers. Thank you very much for listening. This is State Senator Suzi Oppenheimer signing off with a report from the State Senate.